In life, you're gonna make some shots and you're gonna miss some. What happens next? You shoot it again. You might make it. You might miss it. How will you bounce back? If it was me, I would tell you, shoot it again. Because you just might make it. See, hesitation is confirmation that you lack trust in God and your God-given abilities. So don't hesitate. Continue to believe, even when believing don't seem possible. Never give up, even when that's the easiest thing to do at that moment. And lastly, remain committed to the process because it's worth it. Keep going. Never give up. Right. All right. I think we're ready. First off, Mr. Alonzo, I mean, he already said a lot of it. But when I reached out, to him, he mentioned how much of a blessing it was, just kind of fall out of the sky on his end. But it was always interesting to me, and I shared it with them. That is, it was also a blessing on my end because of just the journey that it took to, the faith, the courage took to send that email out. It was a lot. So, first off, I have to at least start off by saying thank you, to Mr. Alonzo for allowing me the opportunity, but also to you all for allowing me to hop into this space. And I mean, I know we're virtual, so it's still, I think we've gotten the hang of it now, but we're good. But I really appreciate being able to join this space with you all. The video that I just showed is of Kobe Bryant. And the reason that I chose that video of him, because when I see Kobe, and maybe you all can relate as well, but from what I remember about Kobe, there's a few words that we just automatically think of. That was discipline. You got self-determination, self-motivation. And those are the words that I would always think about. Resilience. And those words to me oftentimes reminded me of you all as educators. Because I understand that's a lot of self-determination and self-motivation that you have to get through an entire school year. Like I would be lying if I said it was easy. There's a lot of patience that you have to deal with the students each and every day, Monday through Friday. And no, I'm not a teacher or anything, but my mom is actually a teacher. So, that is what allows me to have like so much great, so much respect and admiration for you all that have chosen to work within the education system, because I know that it is not easy at all. Because I've seen days, where my mom would come home and, the day was great. Students were well behaved. The results were everything that she wanted. Like it was a great day of school. But I've also seen days where my mom would come home, walk into the house, stop in the middle of the floor and just stop and say, you know what? It's been a very tough year. I don't know what to do next. The kids are behaving in this way. They're not bringing the results that I thought that they would bring. To be honest with you, I would love to give up, but I know that I can't. So I'm just going to say, I don't know what to do next. I'm stuck. But it would always get me how the next morning she would wake up excited, joyful, happy to go do that thing that she said she loved to do, but also the same thing that she was just so discouraged about. Like it always confused me because I just couldn't understand it. But eventually I learned her being able to do that was because she was committed, not only to what she said she would do, which was, to educate and assist the kids to help better their lives, but she was committed also to the bigger picture, which was to go in each and every day to work and believe in these kids so much that they can go out into the world and believe in themselves. Like that's the bigger goal to me. And I know we all have a lot of different definitions of commitment. We all have different definitions of a lot of words. And most of the time they're just the same. We're all saying the same thing, just in a different way. But when I hear commitment, I had a favorite speaker of mine, Inky Johnson. He always says it, and I love his definition. But his definition of commitment is staying true to what you said you would do long after the mood in which you said it in has left. So to me, that means even in the pandemic, you know, I'm out here giving it my best, and I'm coming into the class teaching, and man, I'm doing my very best, and the kids are not producing what I thought that they would produce, or the results that I expected, I'm not getting them. I'm gonna still make sure that I come in each and every day giving it 100% because I said that's what I committed to doing. That is, even though I woke up and I didn't have my coffee, and man, I'm almost late to work, and to be honest, this is feeling like one of the worst mornings ever to me. I'm gonna still make sure that when I go in, the kids will have the best day of their life. Like, to me, that is what commitment looks like. But also, a few things that I believe in is being honest, being transparent, being vulnerable. And I say that to say, I'm gonna be honest on my end and say, man, it's been so tough to even be committed given last year and even parts of this year. Like, it's just been so tough because it seems that life is just throwing punch after punch after punch. And the question becomes, yo, when can we take a break? Like, when, what is happening? What's going on? Did we do anything? Like, what's happening in the world that has us constantly trying to fight and navigate and figure out things that we've never experienced before? Like the pandemic, we were thrown into that. Never experienced a pandemic before, but we were forced into it to figure it out, learn how to navigate it because life goes on. The recent winter storm that we experienced, none of us woke up and said, oh my gosh, I've seen this before. We had never experienced this before. This is something we were thrown into, had to figure out, had to learn how to navigate because life goes on. And I feel like we've all been taught that, you know, you only have a few minutes to be sad, to be depressed, to be worried. You only have a few minutes before it's time to pick your head up, look forward, and keep moving, keep going, don't give up. No matter the obstacle, no matter the adversity, no matter the hardship, just keep going. We've all been taught that. But I actually wanted to switch it up a bit, and I wanted to share a story that shifted my perspective. And my hope is that it could change yours. And this was a story about it was a young man and an older gentleman. And the young man, he's freshly out of college, man. He just graduated, just moved out of state, got a new house, new job, new car. Like, he got it all. Great guy, serving the community, everything that you could think of. And he was out riding around. He stopped at this restaurant to grab food. He gets out of the car, walks to the restaurant, and he's stopped by this older gentleman. And the older gentleman, when you see him, he's what most of us would classify as less fortunate. You know, clothes not the nicest, but it was something about him that was different. Like, it's almost as if when you see him, you knew he had to be special. You knew he had a story. So the older gentleman asked the young man, if you don't mind, sir, I just want to know if you could spare me a meal. And the young man said, of course, I got you. So he goes inside, goes into the restaurant, pays for the food, grabs the food, comes back outside and hands it to the older gentleman. But before he left, he decided to ask a question that he usually doesn't ask, and it was, if you don't mind me asking, sir, how did you get here? Like, what happened in life that brought you to this place? And what he was really asking was, how did you become homeless? Like, what's your story? How did you, what happened? Because nobody wakes up and says, you know, I want to lose my job, I want to lose my family, I want to lose my money and my house and everything that comes with it, and I want to wake up and be homeless. It's very similar to us when we woke up that morning and our power was out. None of us woke up and said, I want to lose my power, I want to lose my water, I want to lose my heat. And some people even lost homes. Nobody asked for that. But one thing about life, it takes its course. And sometimes we're forced to learn how to navigate it. I think I heard this quote, and it's like, it's not about what happens to you in life. It's more about how do you respond to what happens to you in life. I think that's the bigger question. So when the young man asked this older gentleman, the guy just started smirking and he shared, I got to this point by showing love. And what I mean by that is, I was so into giving. Like, I wanted to give to anybody and everybody that I knew, those that I didn't know. I wanted those, you know, that I could bless. Like, I just wanted to show love to each and everybody, anybody that I saw. And the young man then asked, I mean, isn't that the point of life? It's to give, right? To sacrifice, you know, like, you have to do that. Give. That's what we've been taught. Like, you have to. And the older gentleman, he shared, yeah, that's the goal. But if I can also share one thing, you know, the thing that hurts me the most is that those same people, I was willing to take the shirt off my back and give it to them. And those same people will see me now and wouldn't even be willing to give me a sleeve off of that same shirt. That's what hurts me the most. So yes, the goal is to give, sacrifice. That's the goal. But if I can also share this with you, young man, I would tell you, always make sure to remember to give the world the best of you and not what's left of you. And I share that story as a point of reflection for us all to just ask the question, how many mornings are we waking up and we're giving the world what's left of us? Like the question becomes, are we really taking care of ourselves? Like I said, it's been a pandemic. We had a winter storm. And although those things have happened in the past, some of those things are still lingering on, whether it's from an emotional place. So it's like, we have to really, think about, am I really taking care of myself so that when I do come into work, I can give my students the best of me and not what's left of me? Because I can be honest, I've struggled with it before. Like I've had days to where, I pick and choose. Okay, on Monday, I'm just give it 50%. On Tuesday, I think I'll give it 75%. That's cool. It's a Monday, right? It's the beginning of the week. It's fine. And then we get to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and now I'm ready to give it 100% so I can get to the end of the week and say, man, I gave it my all. This was the best week. I did my thing, and now it's on to the next. But the question is, like, have we become that arrogant as people to decide, the gifts that we have, the things that we've been called to do, the things that we said we were committed to do? Have we become that arrogant to where we can pick and choose when to pick them up and when to use them? Or are we really out here trying to make sure that each and every day is 100% and nothing less? Is it each and every day that we're giving the best of the best to those that we care about, those that we said we would commit to? And I shared this quote with Mr. Alonzo the first time that we spoke. And I love it because it says, alone we can go far, but together we can go fast. And I love that quote because it speaks to community. It's just so important to have community. Like you all as a team, it's just so important to ask those questions. How are you? Like it's so important just to check in, have self-care days. I don't know if you all go out or, team outings. I know we do it a lot at my job. That's a very common thing that we do. But it's things like that that bring community. Because one thing about life, yes, we are different. Yes, we all come from different backgrounds. Yes, we all have different struggles. But the one thing about life is that we're still all connected, whether we know it or not. I heard this other quote and it says, your purpose, the thing that you've been called to do is connected to somebody else that you don't even know. So each and every day, that is why I think it's important. We have to make sure that we're giving it 100%. But I can also be honest again and just say, I'm not perfect. And I hope that I don't come across in that way. I'm not perfect. And my goal is not to be that way. When I shared the quote about alone, we go fast, but together we go far. My goal in sharing that quote was to show that we're all in this together. This thing called life, we're all trying to navigate it. This pandemic, we're all trying to figure it out. And it's when we come together, it's when we keep in mind the bigger goal, it's when we remember what we committed to doing. That's when we become stronger. And there's a lot of lessons that I'm just still learning to this day. But another lesson that I recently learned was it's the smallest things that make the biggest impact. And I learned that lesson a few months ago, actually this year. It was actually January 17th. I remember the day like it was yesterday. And I was walking downtown to go meet with a friend to have lunch. And as I'm walking, I was stopped by an older gentleman, similar to the story that I just shared. And he reached his hand out to me and he asked, young man, if you don't mind, I know you got places to be, people to see, things to do. I know it, but I just want to be direct. I want to be honest and be transparent. I'm HIV positive. And I just want to know if you could donate anything to help me get the medicine that I need. It's due on Friday. And I'm just wondering if you had any donations. I was hesitant at first, but then I was like, you know what? Of course, I got you. So we began to walk to the 7-Eleven that was up the road. And as we were walking, I thought it was so funny because, I don't know this guy, but I felt like everybody else that saw me, they had to think like that, oh, yo, he's with his granddad. Like he's walking down the street with his granddad. Meanwhile, I'm like, I just met him. I don't know him. We don't know each other, but it felt like we did. So when we got to the 7-Eleven, I go inside. My plan was to grab a bag of Oreos just to get some cash back. I go to the counter And I pull out both of my cards and both of them decline. So we try another counter and my cards decline again. And at this point, I'm concerned because I just used them. So the question is like, what's going on? What's happening? But in the midst of me putting my cards back into my wallet, I found this cash that I had. And I told the lady at the register, you know what, it's fine. I got it handled, thank you. I go outside to the older gentleman and I walk up to him and I let him know, you know, my cards declined, but in the process of me looking, I found this cash. And I know it's more than what you asked for. I know it's more than what you requested, but this is what I have and I want to share with you. But I also want to share with you the story that I heard about an older gentleman and a young man. And in that story, I'll spare you the details, but the lesson was to always make sure that we're giving people the things that we commit to do, just everything in life. Always make sure we're giving it the best of us and not what's left of us. Meaning, I knew I was able to give him more than what I intended to give him, but I was just trying to give him just the leftovers instead of what I could really provide for him. And when I gave it to him, he told me, thank you. He was so appreciative. And he was like, yo, man, you're a blessing. And we kept walking. We walked back to the original place that we met. And as we were walking, he stopped me and he looked at me and he said, I want you to look me into my eyes, young man. And I just want to share with you. He shared with me 2 words that touched my heart. And I feel like these are 2 words that we all would love to hear. And that is what we live life for. He shared with me, it's because of you that I believe that there are still good people out here. I say that because the last young man that I reached out to and I asked for help, he took my paperwork with my results on it, held it in the air, and just yelled out to everybody. He got HIV, like get him off the streets. He's nasty, right? Like get him off. And that really like broke my heart because I had never expected another human to treat me in such a way. So when you gave me the chance, when we had this moment, it was because of you that I believe. And when I heard those words, I could only think about, you know, there's 2 types of people in the world, I believe. You have those that the world will change, and then you have those people that will change the world. And I'm not saying I understand that we may not all be able to change the world, change the entire world, but I do believe that we can all wake up and choose to be a light that could possibly change somebody else's world. And that's what that moment meant for me. But also that moment made me think about when I was a kid and when I was sitting in the classrooms and how I'm a product of everybody that believed in me. My family, my friends, but most importantly, those teachers that I had, those mentors that I had each and every day that would just tell me, I believe in you. No, I wasn't the smartest, but I know you're willing, I know you're capable, I know you can be great. I believe in you, go be great. To the coaches, I know you're strong. You are capable, you are great. Go do it, you got it. And it's just so powerful to know that when we choose to believe, like when we choose to believe in somebody, it allows them to believe in themselves. I share that because I think it's important for us to all remember that when we talk about the students, you know, a lot of them, they could possibly come from a broken home. You know, parents are not together. Parents may be divorced. It may be an abusive home. It just may be different things, drugs. It's a lot of different things that we just may not always think about. So when that kid comes in misbehaving, a lot of times it's discipline. It's never why. What, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get here? What's your story? Like what's happening? When that kid is you know, not doing the best, not producing the most results, it's really just asking the question, how can we help you? Like, what is it? Is everything going okay at home? My mom always shared with me just the importance of relationship, and I've learned that throughout my life. Because no kid wakes up and says, I want to go to school and I just want to fail. No kid says that. But every kid says, I want somebody that believes in me. So my hope is that through this opportunity, through my words, that you all can see that I'm a product of the work that you all do. My goal is I just want you all to understand how impactful, how powerful, how inspirational you all are to the students. Because whether you know it or not, there's a student possibly in your class that is coming to school every morning just to see you, because you were that teacher that believed in them. So anything could be going wrong at home. They could possibly not have the support that they need at home, but they know when they come to the classroom to you, you believe in them. And that is what's pushing them to go further. So, you know, my goal is, my hope, again, is through this, you all can see just how powerful, how impactful, inspirational you are. But my goal is also just make sure that in this pandemic, with everything that's happening in the world, let's make sure that we're filling our cup. You know, let's make sure that our cup is full. Let's make sure that we're asking each other, how are you? Let's make sure that we're taking self-care days. Let's just make sure that we're taking care of us so that we can come in each and every day and give the students the best. And I think in addition to that, I would just add, you know, let's remember to remain committed, staying true to what we said we would do, long after the mood in which we said it in has left. And it's once our cup is full, that's when we can get to the commitment piece. That's when we can really get to the not giving up piece. But most importantly, once our cup is full, that's when we can really get to the impact. Because whether you know it or not, the kids, they know. They know when the teacher is not in a good mood. They know when the faculty and staff may have woke up to a bad morning. They know. And lastly, I would just add, you know, as a close, I would just say, just make sure you remember why you do what you do. I know life is tough and we're experiencing a lot of things that we've never seen before. But the goal is to always, each and every day, find a way, find a little piece of life that reminds you why you do what you do. And I heard this quote, and I'm gonna close with this. It's again by my favorite speaker, Inky Johnson. And he shares, most people don't burn out because of what they do. Most people burn out because life makes them forget why they do what they do. So that's my time. That's all I wanted to share. But my hope is that, you know, we all keep fighting through this pandemic and everything that's happening in this world today. But again, thank you. Thank you all so much for allowing me to share the space to come in and speak and be a part of the staff meeting. So.
Thank you so much, Jalan. And at this time, I'll be sharing a survey link in the chat room, and that's going to be our sign-in sheet for today's session. Also, you know, if anybody wants to unmute and just say anything you want to connect or anything you wanted to share, you can do that at this time as well. And I'll go ahead and copy that link into the chat room.
I just want to say thank you for being here. I was ferociously writing because you said so many beautiful things. And so, yes, just thank you so much for your message. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.